Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. So, last episode, we took a lot of territory, and we're in the process of consolidating it. We're finishing out this university. We're building a little bit more furniture production, and then we're building ourselves some railways, so that our economy can keep growing, and so that our investment pool can use all the cash that's sitting in it to increase the size of the economy. We are also in the process of incorporating Bosnia, Montenegro, and Stata Serbia. Yes. Oh my gosh, I have to freehand this. Should have looked up how you spell Macedonia before doing this, and it's having a disease outbreak, which sucks. I'm just gonna call this Macedonia for now, and we're gonna circle back to that, if I remember, later on. It should have a like a localize. I would like if there were a localized option. Anyway. Unless Stata Serbia just means, like, South Serbia, but maybe it does. Maybe it does. Nevertheless, I actually think it does. I think that's what's going on. So, we're going to, yeah, that's, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, we'll find out. But we're going to do a big imperialism and call this area South Serbia and hope that works. So, Austria, you would like us to give you investment rights and trade privileges in exchange for a guarantee of independence. Let's negotiate. Only 87% chance you'll say yes to the thing you offered. They don't want a defensive pact. Instead, they do want to guarantee my independence. Yeah, okay. Let's see if they say yes. They should. Beautiful. I really want a treaty, an alliance with Russia, but they're still in a spot where they don't want it. But it's getting better. Our army power projection is getting better relative to theirs, and that's helping things. We are continuing to go into debt, but that's okay. There we go. Law advancement. That puts us at 67%. So hopefully we can get this racial segregation thing done and good to go. Diplomatic ties with the USA and Spain. Hey, Spain, let's be better friends. USA, let's... Oh, never mind. I lost diplomatic ties with the USA. I had diplomatic ties with the USA for a little bit, and now they're gone. Average standard of living is low because I've just taken over these territories that are not doing super hot, but we're gonna get it up there. It's a process. Right now, the primary thing is getting Bosnia incorporated into Serbia and getting their devastation down. That's going to give us the necessary infrastructure that we need in order for them to be in a better spot vis-a-vis the market. That's going to increase demand in the market, which is in turn going to do good things for the productivity of businesses in Serbia proper. So that's really going to help things out. Cash flow is still pretty rough. And I've got a lot of things I need to build. I don't want to build these barracks too soon because structure efficiency is absolutely Robert Borked in these areas. And most of that is due to the turmoil. It's due to the radicals. But that's going to go way down because, you know what? These people are going to be at much higher levels of acceptance. That's going to bring their standard of living way up. Plus, they're going to be properly policed because I have a proper police force, and that is going to make the effect of all of this turmoil go way down. One nation, one people. The state's efforts to define the nation by a shared Serbian identity have spurred a feeling of alarm amongst its Sudanese population. Many Sudanese people fear that they will be forced to assimilate into the dominant culture. If he wishes to graduate, he is to learn the Serbian language and pass an exam written in Serbian. We cannot make allowances at this time. The woman replied in Sudanese. Her son, an apologetic look on his face, relayed her statement in the official's own language. And what of learning Sudanese? There are many of us here, and that is what we speak at home. Without Sudanese classes, he will forget it once he leaves home and lose all connection to his family. My advice to you, madam, is to learn Serbian. You are a Serb citizen, are you not? So, that's interesting. This event is in Western Serbia. Is there a significant Sudanese population in Western Serbia? I suppose there must be. That's not the thing I... Okay, no, the event's not... The event is located here, but this isn't where our Sudanese population is. So, very diverse here in Eastern Serbia. Okay, we have a community of 105 Sudanese folk in South Serbia. Probably moved here when this was Ottoman territory from Egypt, from Sudan, which is down here. Because I think this is the Sudanese. Yeah, this is the primarily ethnic Sudanese area in the game. So probably this happened while these were in a customs union, and now they live here in Serbia. So our options are: they must indeed become Serbs, extra assimilation, reduced acceptance from heritage trait, language trait, from heritage trait group, language trait, and language trait group for 5 years. Ooh, don't love that. 5% of Sudanese pops becomes in Serbia become more radical. That's 5 people. Fervor of Sudanese is changed by 5. Or there's nothing for them to be afraid of. Minus 15% assimilation. 2% of Sudanese pops in Serbia become more radical. Fervor of Sudanese is changed by minus 5. I'm okay with having reduced assimilation. I'm not pursuing a policy of assimilation. I'm going to form Yugoslavia. So, and I don't need the fervor. My fervor is currently increasing at a really steady rate, which I was able to mouse over and figure out a little while ago. Oh no, it's over here in cultures. Yeah, we're going up at 0.37 per month. So I'm not hurting for fervor. So I'm just gonna say there's nothing to be afraid of. I don't need that those acceptance penalties, because that's going to affect a lot of the people that I consider my primary pops, which are my Bosnians, my Bosniaks, and my Bulgarians. Oh. Don't take the other guy's advice. Don't stay thirsty. Hydrate with water. Albanians here are not doing super great in terms of overall acceptance, but them's the breaks. This area is predominantly Muslim in religion, so that's putting a crimp on my strategy in terms of assimilation. We are getting this. Yeah, I'm going to be able to cover the remaining half of 19 bureaucracy getting these up here. I'm really hoping... Ooh, law progressed to voting. Wonderful. But we do have a stall chance now, due to the Yugoslav national movement. Well, them's the breaks. But with a 68% success chance, I feel extremely confident in our ability to weather this and continue to work. So, I'm hoping that these incorporations don't increase the load on my bureaucracy. I think this is going to continue to fluctuate by just tiny amounts every day, but I think it'll basically be fine. So that's my hope. That's my hope and my hype. Construction efficiency is still pretty rough overall. Where can I see construction efficiency? Yeah, here we go. 58%. A little bit extra from... You know what? Actually, let me realign my decrees. I've currently got road maintenance... I currently only got road maintenance decrees running. What else am I spending my authority on? Yes, I'm spending it on consumption taxes. I'm not going to need too many of those, and they're not actually providing all that much. The one on tea is providing none. The one on coffee is providing precious little. The one on tobacco is good. But I am going to want a road maintenance decree. Actually, I should have done a road maintenance decree initially. These folks have sufficient market access now. Oh, they don't here in Bosnia. Why is this number going down? I don't like it. Is it because pops are moving out? It's because pops are moving out. Gosh dang. Alright, well, we need to fix that. And the way we're going to do it is road maintenance. Alright. And hopefully that's going to stem the tide of population flight. For the time being, at least. So hopefully that'll get Bosnia into the market, which it does. And that should really help things out. Again, incorporation should be slowly reducing the effect of this turmoil due to law enforcement, which is also going up at this time. Prejudiced employers. Kavango Bantu people are having a hard time getting employed in eastern Serbia due to the prejudices of some Serbian employers. I went to apply for a warehouse job. They took one look at me and told me the job wasn't for my kind. Okay, interesting. Work is for everyone. Reduced authority. Don't love that. Or it's up to the bosses to decide who they hire. -2 standard of living for Kavango Bantu in eastern Serbia. Okay, again, let's look at the size of the population. Again, the something vulgarity of numbers. This is a decent. This is actually a decent population here. 7.3 thousand people. Tell you what, I'm gonna do a sneaky thing here. Infrastructure is really good here in South Serbia, but Montenegro is doing a little rough. So I am going to start myself with a road maintenance decree in Montenegro. That's going to cost me almost all of my authority, and then I'm going to say work is for everyone, and that's going to reduce my authority, but that's not going to cause a problem whatsoever. And now our manufacturing, our furniture manufactories are getting going and properly built. And now we're working on railways, and of course these are going to take forever. But them's the breaks. Can the private sector maybe construct some railways? One day we'll find out. The despot of Constantinople opposed the arbitrary and illiberal rule of the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire. The petite bourgeoisie have fallen in with the anti-Ottoman association. To all those who cherish liberty, the Ottoman Empire, under the boot of that pernicious sultan, stands out as an example of the very worst excesses of despotism. In no country is the indomitable right of every soul to strive towards its own destiny obstructed, as it is in the Ottoman Empire, and in no country is a greater threat found to our own liberty than in the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire must fall, for if it does not, we will fall in her place. Down with tyrants, down with the Ottoman Empire, petite bourgeoisie joins the anti-Ottoman association, or sometimes a firm hand is needed to govern well, petite bourgeoisie salty. I'm going to go with the first one. That's going to make them much happier, as the anti-Ottoman association is very well pleased with the government, and I can see why. So this is going to give us reduced interest rates, which is really nice, because we're paying a certain amount in interest at present, and will be for some time. National Romanticism. Inspired by the rising tide of Serbian nationalism, the Belgrade Arts Academy has recently produced a magnificent romanticist painting portraying our nation's founding myth. The personification of the Serbian nation stood in the foreground, clad in robes and bearing a Serb flag. A broken chain leading into the shadow of the inglorious past trailed from her ankle. In the background lay a background of a beauty that could only be found in Serbia, lit by a radiant rising sun whose light shone in the national colors. It bore a message that anyone could understand, yet few could replicate. Out of the dark past, a radiant new spring. Out of oppression, freedom. A work to surpass the masterpieces of Paris. Extra influence, extra prestige, 20 prestige. Fervor in Serbia is changed by 5. Or, let this become the newest symbol of our nation. Extra throughput for arts academies, fervor in Serbia is changed by 10. I want that prestige, so I'm going to go with the first one. That is going to really jump our prestige. We are now at position 21, just behind the 2 Sicilies and ahead of Sokoto, which makes me feel really, really nice. We're running dangerously close to a shortage of bureaucracy here, but here's hoping that doesn't become a problem. I'm hoping it doesn't become a problem, friends. If it threatens to become a see, our bureaucracy is going up every day. If it threatens to become a problem, I'll just build another government building. How are things in Bosnia? I thought I was doing a road maintenance decree here. I sure am. Ugh. Infrastructure is really tough here. We are fully incorporated. Is this still... Yeah, this is... So the unincorporated state thing is causing a penalty. But again, hopefully this'll make things easier. So what is construction efficiency at now? It's only at minus 25%. Same deal for Montenegro, and then South Serbia is at 43%. Minus 43%, which is not bad. Albanian customers not wanted, a stall event. Some shopkeepers have expressed opposition to the equal treatment of Albanian people under the racial segregation law, announcing that they will refuse them service. It's easy for these politicians to draft their plans for equality and brotherhood, but I have a business to run. If I start letting in the Albanian, I'll lose half my customers. They're not bigots, you see, just good Serbian people who are used to things being done a certain way around here. We'll keep doing things that way. Such discrimination is unacceptable. Reduce enactment chance. 10% of Serbian shopkeepers in Serbia become more radical, or they can do as they wish with their own business. 5% of all pops in Serbia become more radical, minus 20% enactment chance. I need to save my enactment chance at all costs, so I'm going to go with the first one. Them's the breaks, unfortunately. We're just going to have to eat the increase in radicalism. It looks like it barely mattered, so here's hoping it really did barely matter. We are getting some reductions to approval from interest groups due to radicals at this stage, but I'm hoping it's not too extreme an issue. Alright, I have become negative in bureaucracy, so let's go ahead and let's take a quick look at taxation capacity. I shouldn't have a taxation capacity problem anywhere, realistically speaking. Have I got any government buildings in Eastern Serbia? I do. I've got 2 levels. I am going to throw 1 level in at the top of the queue in Western Serbia. That should be more than enough to provide me with a whole heck ton of bureaucracy. Oh my goodness, Texas is free. That's so very wild. United States, I would love for us to be friends. This obviously is going to cost me a barrel full of cash, but that's okay. Ooh, the Metropolitan Police. Wonderful. The dedicated police force has solved a series of high-profile murders in Belgrade thanks to our investment in their institution. Public confidence in the police is at an all-time high. Belgrade by gaslight can be a treacherous place. The papers would have you believe that danger lurks around every corner. But all of that is set to change. With a peeler patrolman on every street, our citizens will be able to stride confidently in the knowledge that they are protected from the criminal element. Medals for all our brave bobbies. 33% of servicemen pops in Western Serbia become more loyal. Or Belgrade's finest are on the case. Reduce radicals from political movements in Western Serbia. I'm going to go for the second one. I actually don't have a very high proportion of servicemen pops in Belgrade, in Western Serbia, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Alright, so 10 more weeks till full incorporation. And there's the Fieldworks tech, which is very nice. We got that through tech spread. We're currently working on dialectics, and dialectics is going to be a huge boon for our universities, of which we have fewer than I would like, to be completely honest. I would really like to have a total sufficiency of universities, and I simply don't. One thing I can do, actually, though, to increase infrastructure is I can start putting my government admin over to gas, my urban centers over to gas streetlights, and I can bolster that by adding nitro to the coal production of the mines, and that'll be useful. If I set my livestock ranch using barbed wire fences, that makes them a little bit less profitable. Oh no, it makes them more profitable. They're good. They're very good, in fact. Some of my tooling workshops are not using steel tools. Let's take a quick look at where the market is. I actually haven't done a proper market review in a bit. So clothes are expensive. Fertilizer's expensive. Luxury clothes sure are expensive. I could get producing luxury clothes in one location. I can't because I've only got one set of clothes. Okay, all right. That's fine. That's fine. I can handle this. And then I can import silk instead, and that'll be just fine. But I really have an infrastructure choke right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to build one more set of textile mills in eastern Serbia, and we're going to put them right after the railway in eastern Serbia. And that's going to be of critical use. I should have looked at this earlier, but I'm a dumb goof and didn't do it. I got some pops consuming silk. I'm going to remove the import tariff on silk. Because that's so little money that it doesn't even matter. And maybe I'll get my textile mills producing luxury clothes as time goes by. I'm also going to remove tariffs on luxury clothes. How much revenue am I generating from tariffs? None. Functionally none. Got pretty high coffee demand. I've got pretty high merchant marine demand, which I need to produce in a... Oh, I've got a shortage of... Ooh. I see. Yes. Oh, no, this turns clippers into merchant marine. Have I got a shipyard here? I don't. So I need a shipyard so that I can turn this into an anchorage to produce merchant marine. There's no trade... Or no, I can bring in clippers. It should be easier to bring in clippers than merchant marine, right? I guess I am bringing in merchant marine, though. So them's the breaks. So what else is needed in the market? I need to... Yes, I'm subvening the import of sulfur, and realistically will be for a while. It's hardly costing anything. Realistically. Dyes. Dyes are going to be a problem. I need to imperialize in order to get myself a source of dyes. Let's do a quick pass around here. Is there anywhere in my corner of the world where dye production is possible? Doesn't seem like anything anywhere close by. Okay, so unfortunately, our allies, the Russians, have liberated Bulgaria. What is the state of Bulgaria? Bulgaria is quite weak. But I'm pretty high in infamy. I would love to seize these areas. But the amount of infamy would be extreme. On the other hand, no one will step in except for Greece. Ooh, Russia very well might, though. That's unfortunate. That'll have to be a project for later. Alright. That being said, fertilizer is a little expensive. We do need to produce more of that. Opium is really expensive. Wow, pops are producing opium. Are consuming opium. I need to be... Why can't they consume liquor? Gosh dang. Backroom dealings exposed. Prominent members of the petite bourgeoisie, outspoken supporters of racial segregation, and close allies of Danilo Sijan have been exposed in a corruption scandal, having exchanged political favors for personal quote-unquote gifts. One aide was all it took, one boy squeezing acting from his face in the right place at the right time, to overhear the howling laughter, smell the rich tobacco blend, and spot Danilo Sijan's new golden cufflinks. One honest fellow's word to the right ears, and it was all uncovered. So, such is the nature of politics. Danilo Sijan loses a bunch of popularity. We get minus 15% enactment chance. Throw them to the wolves. We must clean up this mess. Minus 10% enactment chance, but reduced bureaucracy for 5 years. Or we can derive some benefit from participating ourselves. One setback, reduced enactment time. I really want to keep my enactment success chance above 55%. Above 50%. Last time was 67%. This time was 55%. I think it might be worth taking a setback in order to accomplish this. They can't all be stalls. I got a really rock-solid chance of getting a success, and I only need one more success. So hopefully that should sort itself out. Now, I was looking at the market. So I do need to produce more fertilizer. And I am using the fertilizer method for my farms in these areas. Oh god, Bosnia does not have any wheat farms. That's not great, friends. Let me make sure I don't end up in a situation where I've got starvation. We've got a very small amount of starvation here in Bosnia, but not that much. And then South Serbia, we got a real starvation issue. This is really bad. 6% of pops in mild starvation. Let's go ahead and subsidize the wheat fields here. Obviously, that's going to cost us a barrel full of cash, but oh no, this isn't going to help at all. They're already maximally employed. Do I go to single crop mode? I think I simply need to. No, I need to increase them, but first I need to increase the fertilizer supply, because that's what's making it difficult for these to be profitable. So I'm producing fertilizer primarily in my fertilizer plant in eastern Serbia, which isn't producing as much as it could be right now because of the expense associated with sulfur. Let's subsidize this. This is going to cost me a lot of money, but them's the breaks. Alright, and then we'll put the wheat farm here, not at the top of the queue, but near it. I think maybe when we finish with our railway in Bosnia, we'll do it. Because we need that railway in Bosnia kind of desperately. And then it's the shipyards in Montenegro. Again, once the railway in western Serbia is built, the economy will start to grow again, and that'll be nice. We are building tobacco plantations. Okay, so we are working to get to produce our own tobacco. Oh no, we are producing our own tobacco. Okay, well that's good. Let's put an import tariff on tobacco, because we want to produce that ourselves. Friends abroad. While campaigning for additional support, Antun Harambasic pointed to Croatia-Slavonia as an example of how the Free Trade Party would strengthen foreign ties. The essence of trade is simple. One party has something the other party needs and will give it on the basis of mutual exchange. Most commonly, a book for a book, a meal for a meal, a favor for a favor. Less commonly, and arguably more perilous, is the trade by which nations make human life for material wealth, also known as economics. We welcome our friends from Croatia-Slavonia. Extra momentum for the Free Trade Party. Serb relations toward Croatia-Slavonia improved by 15. He must have a factory there. Reduced momentum for the Free Trade Party. Antun Harambasic gets diplomatic campaigning plus 15 popularity. Or if Harambasic loves Croatia-Slavonia so much, he should live there. 70% chance of deteriorating relations with Croatia-Slavonia by 15. Petite bourgeoisie get -2 approval. 20% chance of extra momentum for the Free Trade Party by 20%, and 10% chance of he's exiled and gets the political martyr state indefinitely, which gives him extra popularity. So, an exiled character with a country, culture, diplomatic catalyst is triggered between Croatia, Slavonia, and Serbia. Interesting. What is the state of the election at present? The Liberal Party has a commanding lead with 37% of the projected votes and 22% momentum. The Free Trade Party has been left in the dust by including only the petite bourgeoisie. The industrialists have fled to the liberals. So that's very interesting. I am inclined to reduce the Free Trade Party's momentum. Because that'll increase the momentum of the Liberal Party, and they're a fine party to have here. So I'm going to go for the middle option. And hopefully that will show in our electoral results. Yes, here we go. 39% for the Liberal Party. Let's continue to increase that, shall we? All right, soundtrack. Let's get her going. Pressing issues. The ongoing election has drawn attention to the platforms of the various contending parties across parties. Across Serbia, the electorate debates which party is worth trusting with the next term in government. The first thing I would take into account is the safety of my investments. If a party would represent chaos, I may safely discount it. The stockbroker tapped his cigar on the rim of the ashtray and continued. The journalist took notes as he spoke. How will the incoming government's tariff policy affect my needed imports? Do they wish to impose taxes, which may spur uncertainty? Do they wish to embark upon military adventures? Would these adventures be profitable, or would they be ruinous? There is much to consider. The Liberal Party makes decisive arguments, extra momentum for them. The electorate trusts the Free Trade Party's policy, extra momentum for them. Or the Conservative Party's policies have merit, extra momentum for them. I'm going to go with the Liberal Party. And that should hopefully give them a commanding lead. Now, where is steel in our market? It's going all right. We're producing plenty of steel, but we're going to need to be producing more. But happily, we will get to producing more as our as demand is increased by these railways. We have a little bit of ability to flex from here, so I'm pretty pleased with that. How are our coal mines doing? Coal mines are... Hold on. Ooh, postal savings. That's very good. Better investment pool. Shipyards. I'm going to leave shipyards where they are. Oh, cripes. I'm going to need to make a motor industry. And I completely forgot. I always forget you need a motor in order to drive a train. So, let's throw this at the top of the queue. I still want to do the railway first, because we can import motors. And then we'll start building motors. Gosh, it is hard to build an economy all on your lonesome, I gotta say. Particularly when your economy is pretty small. How are the institutions? Institutions are doing just fine. We are increasing in literacy. I think after dialectics, we're going to shift back to production for a little while, because I really need to focus on this. I need mechanized workshops. That's going to be better production with this other stuff. Well, I need to clear out the tier 2s. We definitely need mechanized workshops. Oh my gosh, we don't even have crystal glass yet. Embarrassing. And I'm not going to get there before text spread finishes it out. So we'll do those two, and then after that, let's get ourselves dynamite and steel railway car. And then I think open hearth process, and that should put us in a good stead production-wise. Now, on the other hand, this whole situation is making me antsy, not having all this stuff. So we will need to deal with that. Come on, give me racial segregation. Nobody clip that. Cross-border investments. Serb industrialists are starting to make investments in neighboring Croatian industries. He stood up, put on his hat, and headed towards the door. At first it seemed he would leave without another word, but then he turned around and spoke with barely suppressed anger. Being accused of lacking in patriotism for where I try to make money isn't just an insult. It betrays a complete lack of understanding of how money is made. Do you think I made what I already have by thinking provincially? An excellent investment improves relations with Croatia-Slavonia and provides them with manufacturing tax income, or strong-arm them to investing domestically, providing us with manufacturing tax income at the cost of making industrialists unhappy. I'm going to do the second one, believe it or not, because I need the money. Please have it be a significant amount of money. It's 300 per week. Hooray! I'm so good at stuff. Beautiful. Beautiful. So that's really going to make things easier. In particular, it's going to make our Albanian pops significantly more accepted. Yeah, you can see it's going up. It's going up already. Because they got that heritage trait group. Alright. God's will. Mirko Kadijevic of the Orthodox Church has been seen preaching in favor of the Conservative Party, convinced that their victory has been foreseen in God's plans. Do you think that God would not have a plan for our pious nation? Of course there's a plan. There must always be a plan. I've seen it myself, let me tell you, and I've seen it clear as I see you all right now, just before my eyes. And who else to lead this adrift government, other than those who can clearly read that plan? Who are we to stand against God's will, stronger Orthodox Church? Such a shame that the nation is not ruled by God then, he gets reduced popularity. But surely God wants the Liberal Party to win. Extra momentum for the Liberals. I'm going to go with extra momentum for the Liberals. I didn't double check on their situation, so let's see how it is. 46%, not at all bad. Being with the Free Trade Party is still kind of an unacceptable government, but if the Free Trade Party bails out, then we'll be good. Good, not foreign. An influx of foreign investment from Austria has roused fears among nationalist groups. The rural folk, ever wary of foreign subversion, have begun lobbying against Austrian interests. They build all their factories from cardboard and lead chips, and their steel is fit only for razor blades. And even then, if you use them, they're liable to give you bruises. The circle of men at the table roared with laughter. The man with the red cravat gave a knowing smirk and continued with his pitch. If we let them buy up our land, there'll be an Austrian spy in every dormitory within the year. I know them well. I spent a month in Vienna, you see. What is to be done? A new anti-country lobby is created, targeting Austria. Or a collection of paranoid children. Weaker rural folk. Interesting. Are the rural folk... Rural folk are not marginalized, but they're close to being marginalized. But I do have good ties with Austria. I'm gonna say a connection of parent... Okay, no, so this will be created regardless. But that having been said, I'm gonna weaken the rural folk anyway, because that's not bad. I did lose my infrastructure. Oh, that was dumb. That was dumb. That was dumb. I'm so good at stuff. I'm so good at video games, y'all. That's okay, though. We're kind of maxing out trade capacity here, which is not ideal, but I've simply got to keep doing what I'm doing. Maybe I need to get maybe I need to get more construction sectors built. I only have 4, actually. Maybe I just need to eat the debt and live with it. Alright. So that's a victory for the Liberal Party. So if we now push out the Free Trade Party... Oh, that's even worse! Gosh dang it. How is this happening? Oh, because the Liberal Party is really messed up. Industrialists, how dare you do this to me? Yeah, whoa, we're really at a crisis on this. If I brought this land reformer in here, would this help? I don't know. Let me see. You're inept. You're imposing, and you're a master bureaucrat. Well, you would certainly weaken the petite bourgeoisie, but that wouldn't really help me. That would make them land reformers. So what's my penalty here? Ideological incompatibility. What's this about? It's about basically everything. Governance... Okay, hold on. Economic system, children's rights, trade policy, labor rights, land reform, labor associations. So... economic system, cooperative ownership, laissez-faire. Someone wants cooperative ownership. Interesting. Children's rights, child labor allowed. Labor associations, combination acts, right to associate. Okay. Right, because the trade unions actually really like cooperative ownership and right to associate. Right, anytime you've got the industrialists in the same boat as the trade unionists, you're gonna have an issue. Because that's really what's causing all these penalties. Oh, this is really rough, friends. Am I at high taxes? I'm not at high taxes. Ooh, and I am at a deficit of authority by quite a bit. It's rough. It's rough. It's hard out here. Again, I may need to just eat the debt and do it. I think I do. I'm gonna do one construction sector right away and see if that... see how that feels. Because I really need the private sector to start using some of this construction capacity that I've studiously that I've carefully shepherded for them to do all the stuff they need to do. I need merchant marine. All right, I need to start making my own merchant marine, which means I need to get clippers imported. I'm gonna stop import tax and clippers, and hopefully that's going to make this port work. Alright, beautiful. Now this port is profitable. They are beginning to hire. I may need to... How's infrastructure here? Infrastructure's okay. We're only getting... Am I crazy? Oh, infrastructure and population. Okay, so... I don't want to risk this, though. Because if I cancel it and it turns out to be a swing and a miss, I'll be really beefed bad. Alright. So, clippers we're going to be producing our own of in not too long. Bosnia, of course, has a little bit of infrastructure, but unfortunately the private sector is not really building there. Which is a shame, because I really wish they were. I'm also not really making the taxation that I was hoping I was going to make as things stand. Do we still have a starvation issue in South Serbia? Can I local prices my way out of this? Grain prices are pretty cheap here. I don't know how to deal with this. I'm trying to build up grain production, but I don't think that's actually going to work. That's curious. I'm not rightly sure how to deal with that. North German Federation and Austria are fighting. Do I have the ability to throw interests down anywhere else? I really need to start building a navy in order to get the necessary interests, but that's just so very expensive. I can eat a lot of debt right now, but also I really don't wish. Hey, Russia. What will you pay me for? Is there anything you want? This is dangerous. Block commitment? Anything? Okay. No tariffs? No subventions? Anything. Anything you will give me cold hard cash for. Trade with the world market? No. Whoa. France has bit into Spain. That's curious. What about you? Is there anything you would like? You want a state. Can't imagine why. What if I just asked Russia to take on my debt? Well, my debt's not actually that high. Britain? What about you? You would like a power block embassy. What does my leverage distro look like? Can I see that? Yeah, but... Hold on, there's gotta be a way. There's gotta be a way that I can see. Okay, most of the leverage here belongs to the Metternich system and the Rossiyskaya Imperia. so if we take a look at them, Sky Empire 47, Metternich system, positive 47. Versus Sky Imperia, negative 47. So if we give a power block embassy to Britain, that might mean they'd be willing to transfer cold-haired currency. Oh no, they don't want to pay us hardly anything. Well, that sucks. Come on, Britain, what's going on? Don't you have a huge economy? What about you, Germany? They want trade privileges. Probably not willing to pay too much for it. Yeah, no. No. Shame. Russia, do you already have... Yeah, you already have a power block embassy with us. And investment rights. And then... That's right. That's right. We're doing stuff over here. Dang. Alright, well, my attempt to bring in cash flow from abroad has failed. Let's be better friends for now, Bulgaria. For now. Let's be better friends. One day you and one day I will eat all your states. But until then, we will be better friends. Speaking of which, what are my prospects for eating one of your states right now? Greece will still step in. Russia still might step in. Austria has a chance of stepping in, although they are fighting the Germans right now. And the Russians. No, not the Russians. Greece, what does your stuff look like? I bet I could take you in a fight, Greece. My economy is larger. My population is double yours. What about you, Bulgaria? I do exceed them. I do exceed them both, but Bulgaria does have a professional army. Gosh, I don't want to get even deeper in debt, but also I think I need to in order to construct the things I wish to construct. So let's do that. Let's just do it. Debt be damned. It's what I need to do in order to succeed. We're closing in on dialectics. Man, though, actually, if I could knock out everything in Tier 2 in society, I could snag steel frame buildings, but that's going to take forever. I need water tube boiler, and I need mechanized workshops. Maybe after that, I'll circle back to society. My shortage of money is creating a real problem. What if I drop government wages? That goofs up my authority even further. And again, I'm spending authority on... I think I need to stop boosting the Yugoslav national movement. Yugoslav national movement, you're fine. I like you, but I don't like you. And by like you, I mean I don't like you enough to bolster you. You reduce government wages. That would make my petite bourgeoisie and intelligentsia feel salty, but it could be useful. It would reduce my prestige, which is not ideal. I could hike taxes, but my cash flow is pretty rough. Again, reducing military wages doesn't really make sense. I think I need to drop government wages for the time being because I just need to build. I need to build stuff. I need to be able to construct stuff at a reasonable rate. And right now, I don't have that ability. I'm being crushed under the weight of all the things that my market needs that I'm not producing a sufficiency of. I could also use some more iron mines. Urgh, this is hard. This is hard. My economy is not built the way I would like it to be. Yet. The Anti-Ottoman Association has offered us an opportunity to establish an alliance with the United States of America. Their proposal, if accepted, is intended to counter Ottoman interests. And the industrialists are now powerful, which is good. It was a veiled sort of aggression, one which could, in theory, appeal to both ardent jingoists and those who preferred to mitigate losses. It would force the enemy to respond, possibly drive them towards reckless confrontation in response to a seemingly benign maneuver. A plan to fight the Ottoman Empire to the last American, one minister remarked. The representative flushed. He had practiced responses along both lines, but none of them quite fit. We would be happy to pursue this, or this is not in our interest. I'm going to say we'd be happy to pursue this. Can I start improving relations with the United States now? I can. Excellent. Contentious topics. An event organized by the Yugoslav national movement transformed into a brawl as opponents of the movement infiltrated the crowd. When the police arrived, no participant was willing to give a consistent statement. Most of them had at least one bruise, a cut lip, or a bloody nose. His was much less honorably obtained than most of theirs. He had whacked his hip against the corner of a table while rushing for the exit, only to run nearly headlong into an approaching gendarme. Two conflicting stories rose to mind, one that he would tell to the detective, and one that he would tell to his friends. Give them all a day in jail to cool off, salty landowners, or seek charges for the event's organizers. Weaker Yugoslav national movement, but even angrier landowners. I'm just going to give them all a day to cool off. It's going to make the landowners mad, but them's the breaks. Croatia Slavonia is improving relations. Okay. But hear me out. The investment pool. Can the investment pool maybe spend more money? I did just build up an abundance of construction capacity. The other side of the fence. People have begun complaining about the difference in living standards between us and our neighbors in Austria. After the shop door swung shut, they exchanged a meaningful glance. She didn't even notice you gave her the wrong change. Why do you think I do it? Her sort, they can afford it. I'll be damned if the Austrians think they can come in here and flaunt their wealth, expecting us to just tolerate it. This is simply an example of global inequality, stronger and happier trade unions. Clearly, they're liars who cheat foreigners out of their money, deteriorates relations by 30 towards Austria. Or it is the way things are, not worth thinking about. 5% of pops in Montenegro become more radical. I'm going to strengthen and happy in the trade unions. And will that cause them to activate their ability? No, they don't activate until 10. Sad, but predictable. Don't crash. Don't crash, computer. That's not your computer, that's my computer. And now everyone on the internet is going to know that I don't know how to run a machine. You know what I think? I think I might privatize the railway and allow it to be purchased by someone. Once we've got motor industries running, the railway will be able to be profitable, and that'll be nice. And this is going to happen in 1 week. In fact, I'm going to privatize the railway as well. And then maybe some industrialists will buy it, and that will be better for my bottom line. Because I think I think this is another kind of industrial building that I think is just fine if the industrialists own. So you gonna produce motors? There we go. All right, so we're producing motors, and that should be making this railway able to run. And there is dialectics. All right, so this is going to increase the cost in paper of our universities, but it's also going to produce additional innovation. Shabamzo. Let's get back in here. Okay, now the railway is hiring, because now engines are dirt cheap. And these are still... Alright, financial districts in western Serbia have bought the railway. That's wonderful. And now what about the motor industry? Motor industry is still owned by the government. It's okay. As soon as we get more railways built, they'll be being built. I wonder if actually I should cancel some of these other railways and see if the private sector constructs them. Let's see. Let's see if that happens. Spain has formed the Grand Alliance. Not that that affects me one measly bit. Austria is handling its garbo pretty well. Transylvania, Hungary, and Croatia, Slavonia are all loyal for the moment. Netherlands has formed a coalition of states. Y'all are forming power blocks left and right over there. I'm still getting some government dividends from a bunch of different types of industries, so let's privatize some of that stuff. Let me see. Hudson's Bay Company. Interesting. Lead mines are owned by financial districts. Wheat farms. Let's go ahead and privatize one level of wheat farms. Let me see. Livestock ranches. Quite a few of these are publicly owned. Let's go ahead and privatize them. I'm just trying to bring in cash flow, friends. Vineyards, those are owned by Russia. Vineyards. What else is producing? Because, like, these government dividends, this is nothing. The steel mills. Any explosives factories. Interesting. Let's allow those to be bought. The steel mills over here, I think it's fine if those get bought. Nice, very good. What else? Tooling workshops. Ooh. But not these ones. Do I own tooling workshops in another country or something? WTF. Ah, these ones. Privatize! And not those ones. Interesting. And do I have tooling workshops here in South Serbia? No, I do not. I don't have any urban buildings in South Serbia. That's definitely something we need to work on. Alright, private sector is building a railway in Bosnia. Alright, beautiful. So what we're going to do... That's right, because the private sector takes that stuff into account. So I'm going to continue to allow the private sector to build what it's building. And here's hoping they invest in another railway. Because I desperately need another railway. And it is going to be slower than having the government do it, but not by that much. I've still got my corn laws kicking around, but once I've got a railway in eastern Serbia, these motor industries are going to be much more productive. That in turn is going to feed the productivity of the steel mills, which are hiring more now that we're producing some motors, and will do even more once these railways are built. See, this is how you build up an economy, folks. And I don't want to be reliant on foreign imports as Serbia. I want to be really able to produce most of what I need in the country. Because I want the Serbian people, and eventually the Yugoslav people, not to need to rely on foreign investment. Oh boy, they're building up an even bigger army. Ugh. What is their tech level? Irregulars. Interesting. Again, gigantic risk if I go after them. They do have mobile artillery, but I've got skirmish infantry, which is significantly stronger than them. We are improving relations, but you know, we'll see. We'll see how things go. Bulgaria is damaging relations. Alright, alright. You know what? That's fine. I don't need better relations with you, Bulgaria. In fact, relations with you have gotten too good already. I say. Alright. Once we get producing a few more clothes, that'll be better. Okay, things are bad in Bosnia. Talk to me. What's being built up here that shouldn't be? Heckin' livestock ranches is what? I can't tell if I... No, I've definitely had my taken credit reduced. Alright. What else do I have that needs to be... Right, the furniture manufactories I just built. Let's go ahead and privatize. Oh boy. Okay. This is good. So our lad who's leading the Free Trade Party is now a protectionist. So if I get the Liberal Party out of office, and get just him, then I can have a legitimate government. Oh, this is extremely silly. Well, at least an unacceptable government. If I bring this fella into leadership, will that affect anything? I don't think so. That's kind of the opposite of what I wanted, but them's the breaks. We have an authoritarian United States in this run, which I wasn't even thinking about. Yeah, they're still doing legacy slavery, but they're an autocracy. John Calhoun, you're still kicking around in 59? Unbelievable. Hey, let's say we have an alliance. Oh, no, you are not at all. You're wary of me. Well, maybe that will change when our relations are better. Maybe not. Right, I was watching to see if they invest anywhere else. They're going to build iron mines in Bosnia. That's good. Building up stuff in Bosnia is good. Bosnia has a lot of turmoil, but not as... It could have less. The Ottoman Empire has claims. I wonder if I could... How much could I benefit? Ooh! The Bosniak National Awakening. The National Epic, a recently released compilation of traditional Serbian poems and songs, has captivated Serbia's increasingly literate populace. A well-read copy of The Battle of Kosovo may now be found on every bookshelf in Belgrade. The print shop had never been so busy. Workers bearing palls of warm paper bustled to the stations at which they would be glued and bound in leather. The books would be glued and bound in leather, not the workers. That's too kinky. It's still 1859, people. Let's not start getting all thirsty here. In the back, the vast presses. This is actually my indication that I need to refill my water. I'm not thirsty. You're thirsty. All right, here we go. Yep. Just doing this, and then I'll continue to read the event. There we go. Get a little ice in there. Tiny drop of water on my computer. Hopefully that won't have any consequences. In the back, the vast presses churned out page after page, each decorated with elegant knotwork and images of flowers. This stack of 50 was bound for Belgrade, this for Novi Pazar. Letters from private individuals and booksellers alike were stacked atop a counter, awaiting entry into the ledger. A shout rang from the front, from which a man in uniform had just departed. An order from the ministry. They want 200 by Friday. A work to bind our nation together, extra legitimacy, extra assimilation. Fervor of Serbian is increased by 10. Or, a toast to our luminaries, extra prestige, small amount of extra assimilation, stronger intelligentsia. Fervor is increased by 5. I desperately need legitimacy, so I'm going to go with the top one. My prestige has dropped, but at least now I'm at an unacceptable government at 42. Alright, what else? And I apologize if this privatization process has become very silly. I just need to get these going. Tooling workshops, wheat farms, paper mills. Paper mills, logging camps, railways, and whatnot. Maybe a better way to do this is simply to start privatizing most things in here. So, there's crystal glass. Wonderful. Let's start making it. We're going to be unprofitable if I do. That's a shame. Yeah, glass is extremely cheap in the market. Let's grab our urban centers and start having them use the glass method. That's going to make glass a little bit more expensive. If we do public trams, that turns engines into transportation. I think that's good for the country overall. So from here, what does that do to the... Oh, right. Steel tools. So that does make the glassworks more productive. If we get them making crystal glass, that's not going to be better. Is glass still dirt cheap? It's not. Things are looking better. Porcelain is reasonably expensive. I've still got protectionism on for that. So that's fine. Our culture is still increasing in fervor. It's going to go to 73. Fyodor Rozhetsvensky has been exiled from Russia. He's a land reformer aligned with the trade unions. Interesting. Antun Harambajic, you don't seem to be very good for me. You don't seem to be very good for me at all, in fact. But, is there anyone better that I could have? Let me actually ask myself that. That's the real question. Alright, and none are available because none are technically able to be invited. So, Leonid Golovin, okay, so you're a jingoist. You're an abolitionist. A jingoist. A slaver, an authoritarian. Because this guy's a radical, but he's aligned with the rural folk. Market liberal, a couple of land reformers, market liberal. Anti-monarchist. Jingoist, slaver, a technocrat, or whatever this is, positivist. Got a Democrat over here. But he would not, I would not be able to bring him in, because he would not be, because he's Marathi. Okay. Let me see. This list is very long. Don't crash, Victoria 3. Ooh. A guy has been exiled from Croatia, Slavonia. He's a radical aligned with the trade unions. Can I sort by acceptance? I can. Sort the other way by acceptance. Radical trade unionist. Okay. A moderate? Interesting. Okay. Some interesting people here. The Bosniak National Movement. You guys like cultural exclusion, but you're fine. We're basically fine. Bosniaks are treated pretty well in my country. I don't think there's a better fella right now. Because Bosniaks, yeah, Bosniaks are fully accepted because of the heritage trait and language trait. We're doing just fine. Now, I was taught in school that there was a distinction between Bosnian and Bosniak, but I could be wrong about that. I've been wrong before, and I will be wrong again later. It doesn't seem like the private sector is going to invest in a railway in Montenegro, despite the fact that Montenegro kind of needs a railway. So I'm going to put that in. Oh no, that's not the type of building I want. That's a trade center. I want a railway. And that railway is going to go in above the barracks. We are doing better from a cash flow perspective, though. Like, that's been steadily improving. And I'm hoping it will continue to improve. Infamy is also relatively stable. And we are getting more and more independent in our market. Let me see. Sell orders of merchant marine. I'm not really producing all the merchant marine I could be. I may, unfortunately, need to subsidize this port, but we'll see what it looks like after we start producing clippers. 35 is going to be plenty for the needs of my market, so I think we'll just leave it at there. Now, South Serbia does have an iron mine. There are peasants living in South Serbia. Population is going up steadily. Things are, yeah, so things are doing better in these areas, particularly in Montenegro. Population is going up, and attraction is pretty solid. I do want to take Kosovo, but the thing that I'm worried about is the Albanian population, because those folks are not very well accepted, and conversion to Orthodoxy is slow. Pretty slow indeed. On the other hand, there might be a value in snagging those areas before all my other neighbors do. Are the Ottomans still in a truce with the Russians? They are. So I need to do this with the help of only the Austrians. If I go for Kosovo and Albania, what does that look like? 12.6. Does the Austrians do side with me, but only barely? And the Russians can't get involved. Let's wait until the Russians no longer have their truce, because I think that's going to sort of... Did that just end? No. 19 months. Okay. Am I being stupid? No, here it is. Here it is. I saw all this British red and was like, oh, it must be that stuff. It's not. It's not that stuff. Alright, railway in Montenegro getting built. How is the steel supply is getting a little rough. So let's go ahead and build another steel mill. And we'll throw this one in at the top. Because we're going to need that in order to sustain all these railways that we're building right now. So, now that we've got a shipyard running, this is going to produce, hopefully, a sufficiency of the merchant marine that we need. Okay, alright. So, let's put a more significant import tariff on merchant marine. And that will hopefully help our shipyard. Actually, I'm going to subsidize this shipyard to start. Just to get it going. Language in the classroom event. I'm also going to privatize it. Language in the classroom. Albanian students sometimes use their native language in Serb schools. Some have called for teachers to penalize the use of these languages, forcing children to speak the official language of Serbia. You noticed it too, right? He gets angry when anyone talks in class, but he always gets angrier when we're talking. Maybe he thinks we're talking about him. I think he just doesn't like being reminded that we know something he doesn't. Schools should teach them to speak the proper language. 10% of Albanian pops in Serbia become more radical. Extra assimilation and increased radicalism from discrimination, or their language is part of their heritage. Petite bourgeoisie, salty. Reduced assimilation, reduced radicalism from discrimination. I'm going to go with the first one. This is temporary. United States, are you feeling better about me? They're still wary. Gosh dang. What if... Okay. Is there any way I can use imperialism to improve my situation? What's this? Is there a juicy target? What kind of... My military is reasonable. But I lack naval bases. I lack the ability to transport it abroad. But if I didn't... If I built some naval bases, if I invested in a navy, there are presumably countries which I could seize control over, such as the Marina Kingdom, which have very little in the way of functioning militaries that I could potentially attack. Let me think about that. Problematic policing. Speaking of imperialism, police officers in uniform have been discovered supporting Serb-Austrian society activity while on duty, lowering public confidence in the police force. A resident of Bosnia comments on members of the police force patrol that walk by in pristine uniforms with a hint of arrogance to their gait. Disdain drips from the onlooker's voice. These officers certainly think highly of themselves. They carry out errands for the Serb-Austrian society and accept their gifts. They ignore their duty to the people of Bosnia. As long as everyone is discreet, there's no harm. 5% of pops in Bosnia become radical. Serb relations towards Austria improve by 5. Or we need to restore the public's confidence. Appeasement of the Serb-Austrian society goes down by 1, and it's currently 0. But 5% of pops in Bosnia become more loyalist. I'm definitely going to go with the second one. I love the idea of having less radicalism in Bosnia, because that territory has quite a bit of radicalism in it already. Alright, so still are showing a shortage of merchant marine here. Which sucks. Are you employing people? Port? Come on. Come on. Let's get you running. Okay, no, they're being employed. The shipyard is increasing now that we're subsidizing them. Of course, that's costing the government quite a bit of cash flow. But hopefully, between the tariffs on the market, now that the port's running, maybe the actual answer is I subsidize the port. Oh! Friends, it is a day of national mourning. Miloš, the king who saw us through our period of expansion and liberation, has passed away, leaving the throne to his son, Milan, who is quite unhealthy. He's a firebrand. He's romantic. But his chance to die is pretty high. The heir apparent is going to be another Miloš. He is aligned with the landowners, unfortunately. They're still a pretty strong party. A pretty strong interest group. So, you know, we might have some complicated times ahead. We still have a shortage of merchant marine. This is coming from our trade centers. We need to produce merchant marine for our trade centers. And this port is barely producing enough merchant marine. Okay, so actually, I need to be producing more ports to produce more merchant marine for the trade centers that we need to conduct international trade. And building ports takes a long time. It takes 400 construction. Oh boy, this is tough. I'm gonna cancel that for the moment. I've got too many things. I think I may just need to subsidize. No, the ports are profitable. The ports are profitable. The port's profitable. It's just the shipyards that are not. Maybe the private sector will build up some of these ports. No, they're straight iron maxing in Serbia and Bosnia. Now that Bosnia has enough infrastructure, they're building up iron mines like it's going out of style, which I understand because we need a lot of iron for all the construction we're doing. Oh man. Water tube boiler is really good, but I'm thinking I'm looking more and more at steel frame construction as a way of just getting out from under my current situation. I did just build. These motor industries are not doing super hot. I keep building up more railways. We'll do tariffs. Yeah, no, it's the freaking steel and the motors. I see. They're not producing enough motors because it's not profitable enough. That's why I need to build up more steel so that there's a sufficiency of motors. I'm also having a really hard time with clothes. I need to produce more of that with my textile mills. Let me see. I think I might want to produce those in Bosnia or South Serbia. Actually, I think South Serbia is a good place for that because South Serbia has a large peasant population, and I need to get standards of living up there. Bosnia has some urban buildings. Gosh, we have a couple of arms industries here that are partially owned by local workforce and that are they're not producing. I'm producing a lot of firearms and exporting a lot of firearms. Tell you what, let's go to 0, and maybe we'll even subvene guns, but maybe we won't. I'm going to turn off export tariffs. I think export tariffs are generally bad for an economy. Not fertilizer, though. Fertilizer I want to keep in the country. Glass, you're fine. There's a better way to do this. Let me look at my trade reports. Yes, I am subvening import for sulfur, and that's fine. I need to do that. Rifling unlocked. Excellent. Well, now we're going to be producing a whole mess of rifles, I must say. That's going to take our steel. Unfortunately, my government has become illegitimate. Oh, this is weird. So, okay. So here's what's happened. We're in an election cycle again. First, campaign financing. Parties, particularly the Liberal Party, are struggling to raise enough funds for all their campaigning needs this election. Let's see what you men are charging. Fees, yes, that's to be expected. But what's this lodging charge? That fancy hotel room could house half a village. And there's enough wine built here to drown a fish. Those don't come cheap, sir. You do want to win, right? Some money can be spared for the Liberal Party. It costs the government money, but not that much of it. Extra momentum for the Liberals. Every party can be provided with basic funding this election cycle. Big government expenses, extra opposition interest group approval, or if a party can't afford a campaign, should it be campaigning? Weaker Liberal Party. I'm actually going to spare some money for the Liberal Party. Because things have changed up in the country. The petite bourgeoisie have fled to the conservatives, and the liberals have, the Free Trade Party have gone by themselves, and the liberals have all moved together. The armed forces have gone to the liberals. That's the difference here. Okay, so I'm Free Trade Party maxing right now. Although the liberals are more likely to win, but we'll see what happens as the election cycle goes along. And hopefully I haven't radicalized too many people by mixing up our government too much. Happily, once I get up to 75, up to like 72 fervor, my set point is like 72 fervor. Or something like that. Yeah, 73. And once I get up there, I'll be able to increase, I'll be able to get an event to increase it the last 5. Birds of a Feather. Antun Harambajic and Mirko Kadijevic were spotted in discussions about the upcoming election. Preachers the next day were extolling the virtues of the Conservative Party. The first estate and the second estate hand in hand since the oldest glories of Imperium. A more modern appellation of the Holy Marriage is Hearts and Minds, a glorious leader to capture their hearts, and a magnificent God to occupy their minds. The Orthodox Church are beyond reach, extra momentum for the Conservative Party, or let us hope they do not decide the election. A much smaller increase in momentum for the Conservative Party, but stronger clergymen, and more political strength in clergymen. I'm going to do the second one. Hopefully it won't be too impactful. Modernizing the arsenal. The change in large-scale production from smoothbore muskets to rifles in the arms industries in western Serbia has ushered in a new era for small arms production in Serbia. Even from 1,000 yards, you can still take the shot. Forward artillery positions can be harassed. Bayonet charges stop before they've even commenced. The advantages are innumerable. Unless we develop sufficient manufacturing capabilities to produce these weapons, we are bound to face disaster on the battlefield. The Belgrade arsenal will be famed throughout the world. 20% migration traction for Western Serbia, extra arms and artillery industries throughput, or Serbia shall be at the forefront of military innovation, only 10% migration traction instead of 20%, and only 5% throughput instead of 20%, but 4.15k progress on repeaters. I'm definitely going to go with that second one. I love getting some extra progress on tech. Alright, we're working on our railway in Montenegro. Construction efficiency is at -6%, but that's not at all bad. Turmoil is much lower than it has been. Radicalism here is pretty high, but radicalism is pretty high across the country. Hey, private sector, you want to build some freaking railways in Bosnia, or am I going to have to do that? So I think after this, I'll continue to build out my barracks. Because getting my army stronger is actually important from a long-term standpoint. I was going to privatize some buildings. I'm going to set basically all my regular industry to privatize. All my, like, normal urban buildings. I'm going to leave the arms industry in state hands for the moment. I'm going to turn off subsidies for the munitions plants. I don't need them hyper-producing right now. And then farms I'm also going to set to privatize. And hopefully what this is going to do is it's going to make the... it's going to allow the private sector to really get its hands in the economy. Bread, butter, ballots. With the price of grain soaring across the country, the Free Trade Party is finding itself under relentless pressure from the opposition, accused of recklessly toying with the welfare of its citizens. High price of grain, humbug. In my youth, we would make do with even less than what you have now for double the labor. These outrageous food prices are nothing more than the musings of hysterical housewives. They will just have to eat something else then, reduce momentum for the free traders, or fund soup kitchens. A man with a full belly makes fewer mistakes. Extra government expenses. I guess I'll take the hit to momentum for the free traders. Oh, it's all gone to the freaking conservatives. Urgh! This is bad. This is very bad, friends. I'm in a pickle. I'm in a real pickle. But this is very good. Water tube boiler means my mines will be more effective. Iron mines have become less productive, but hear me out. This will make construction cheaper, and it will make, in turn, that will allow me to build more construction sectors. Let's get a construction sector built in Bosnia. And let's build another one in Western Serbia. And I'm going to throw these at the top of the queue. I know what you're thinking. Is this cat nutty? But I gotta. Industrialists petition government. Representing his constituents in the Industrialists, Vladimir Pešek has issued a formal petition to the Serb government to pass poor laws. One last matter for the day, sir. Members of your constituency arrived this morning. They're asking rather loudly and insistently if you would meet with them about new legislation. Well, is that it? Goodness, you seem as if you've seen a ghost. I'm sure I can spare the last hour's delight for them, can't I? I believe so, sir. They were not taking no for an answer. We'll see what we can do. Pass poor laws. Offer them free trade as a compromise. Or they must understand the present situation does not allow for this. I'm actually going to wait on this until after the election. Because I want to see what I can get away with. Prejudiced employers. Ovenbundu people are having a hard time getting employed in eastern Serbia due to the prejudices of some Serbian employers. I went to apply for a warehouse job. They took one look at me and told me the job wasn't for my kind. Work is for everyone, reduced authority. Well, it's up to the bosses to decide who they hire. -2 standard of living for Ovenbundu in eastern Serbia. Well, I'm going to do what I did before, throw a consumption tax on there, and then pray for rain as I lose the necessary authority. Now, if I can get a little bit more momentum into the hands of the free traders, that'll be good. But unfortunately, the conservatives have just got tons of momentum. I think they may have changed the way elections work in this game, so there's like a bounce back thing where, like, if one party gets a bunch of momentum, other parties go down in momentum or something like that. I'm not sure. It's all gotten rather silly. I really don't desire a conservative government at this time, but I think it may end up being inevitable. But we'll see. We'll see how things go. Yeah, I know they're petitioning the government, but I gotta do the election first. Why are the motor industries not producing the necessary trains, sir? Sir, what the trains? The trains! Buddy! Buddy, we need those. Why are you not... What is going on? What is going on here? Why are you not producing? I think I need to subsidize these. This sucks. To manage my own economy. Alright. Elections are in. What can I get? I can't get shit in Detroit. So, unfortunately, it's going to be a conservative government. I'm just going to say we can't... Present situation does not allow for this. That'll avoid things becoming too bad, and then it's just going to have to be a government of the conservatives for now. But we'll see how things go. I can go to protectionism now. That will make the industrialists very salty, but them's the breaks, I suppose. Although I do want them to continue to... Well, I don't need them to continue to invest that much. Investment pool's chock full, and I can't even do anything with it, so... Maybe, actually, the answer is we do other stuff. Maybe we return to oligarchy? This will make the Yugoslav national movement militant. Okay, so I can't do that. Could go back to appointing bureaucrats, but that doesn't seem good. Could go to charity hospitals. I don't wish for that, though. Could go to guild system, but that helps freaking nobody. Protectionism would be better long term. It increases my maximum subventions and tariffs on imports and exports, respectively. The petite bourgeoisie would try to make this happen. The landowners would try to make it not happen. Landowners are pretty happy, so they wouldn't really try to stop it. It'd only be the industrialists trying to stop this from happening. I think it's good. Although, no, I don't want to rock the boat, because I don't want to get hit with a bunch more petitions. Alright, as we continue to increase the size of the construction sector, obviously that is increasing the government's costs, but it's really good long term. It's good long term. And if I can sell even some of these buildings, that's also really good long term. So it's just got to be done. We're a little short on bureaucracy again. These are a little bit the struggle years, I must say. We're experiencing some struggle years. We do have a good gold reserve. Yes, okay, so we're selling some of our national businesses and producing a very good amount of a reserve, and that's good. I'm very happy about that. That'll allow us to continue to be efficient with our usage of our cash in the long term, and standards of living are going up by a little bit. Economy is continuing to increase in size, and literacy is improving. Could be improved more. So let's do that. Let's dial back... No, actually, I need to keep law enforcement high. Well, that means I'm going to need to absorb additional costs for the government. But I gotta do it. I gotta get this education running. I'm gonna throw... Wow. I'm actually getting a little bit more, a little bit of flow into the railways, even though the government admin's being built as fast as possible. That's very good. Delicious water. How's the price of iron doing? The price of iron is doing fine. What else do my construction sectors use? Wood, cloth, and tools. Not explosives yet. That doesn't start until steel frame. But that is eventually going to be a factor. So with that done, and now start increasing education. And that is going to hopefully increase literacy, which is going to help with my national awakening. I am still increasing in... Oh, I'm increasing much slower now. Interesting. Bosniak national awakening is increasing, but not as fast as the other stuff. Unfortunately, my window is closing for going after the Bulgarians. I think that Navy thing is still not going to work. I think I got to focus on the armed forces for now. And we'll simply do things that way. I was going to privatize the railways. And I think I am going to do that. Oh, I can privatize logging. Privatize railways. Yeah, they're better producing things. And we'll privatize trade as well. I'm not going for that mixed an economy, friends, I must say. Let's take a look at the building browser, and hopefully I haven't beefed too much. How do I know there's a way to look at... is located in Serbia... Non-Serb owners. Okay, some of our coal mines are owned by Russia and Turkey. Some of our iron mines, we have one level of iron mines owned by private owners in Turkey. Livestock ranches, private owners in Turkey. Logging camps, quite a bit in... Yeah, which buildings? Tell me. And some of these are owned by Britain. Tobacco plants, quite a few of these are owned by Turkey. Alright, so that's not ideal, but it could be a lot worse. Forced nationalization would only be five hoodie-majigs, 5 infamy. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like I could get anyone on my side on this, and that, unfortunately, is the key. Because of my whole situation. I am increasing the size of the armed forces, and that is necessary, radically so, in fact. In fact, what does that look like if I continue to do that? I'm currently going to 12.6.4. Right, to make it mirror the conscription process. I think maybe... Oh, I've got quite a bit more conscription capacity than I did when I first won my war. Let me start myself... Ooh. What if I split this army in half? Yeah, what if I built all this stuff up and then split the army in half? That would be nice. Because that would mean that got a good gold reserve running now. Yeah, done a lot of privatization. Good for the gold reserve. Nice to drain money out of the investment pool that is, of course, not being optimally used and into the government's coffers so that the government can do important things like fight wars. I'm getting more and more interested in in the conquest of Albania. Austria. Is there any way I could get... No, not even a little bit. They'll never give me Austria and Montenegro. I'm gonna have to fight them for Austria and Montenegro. Extremely rude and toxic. Extremely rude and toxic. No, I will not elaborate. Private sector, can you build a freaking railway in? Oh no, this railway is trying to hire. It's not hiring. It can't. It's not being profitable. That's why Bosnia is having a dickens of a time getting the necessary infrastructure. Curious. Very curious. I don't rightly know what to do about that. I mean, no, I do know what to do about it, and it's I need to subsidize the railways. In fact, I need to subsidize railways all across the country. Them's are just the breaks, friends. You gotta subsidize railways. Monument to the Prince. A statue of Prince Milan Obrenović was commissioned, and it has been suggested that it be displayed proudly in western Serbia. Romantic is how you would describe the look on the face of the statue when it smiles down on you, eyes that flicker in the opposite direction of the sun, though maybe you are just imagining it. A monument worthy of the prince, 2% of pops become more radical, 3% prestige, or perhaps not everyone wishes to be reminded of the prince, salty landowners. I'm going with the second one. I'll piss off the landowners any day, every day, in fact. What does my my military currently cost me? Cost me 2.69k. Plus goods for military buildings 1.85k. Not that much. What on earth are all these subsidies? I know I've been subsidizing buildings pretty extremely. Okay, the artillery foundry and the arms industries, I can just stop subsidizing those completely. That's just cash I'm throwing down the drain at this stage. I don't need any of that. Okay, what else? Motor industries, I do need to be subsidizing those. Fertilizer plants, I'm sure, can live without being subsidized at this stage. No, they're unprofitable. They're unprofitable because... Is fertilizer really that cheap? I guess it is. Let's take a look at the world market. There's got to be a good fertilizer market. There is indeed. All right, so let's subvene fertilizer production, and hopefully that'll make the fertilizer plants more productive. What else? Shipyards, railways. I still need to keep subsidizing those shipyards. Motor industries. Gosh, I wish these could produce the motors that I need in order to... for my railways to function, but they can't. And some of them are going abroad. What if I subvene them? No, I need to keep I need to keep the profits in the country for these. Textile mills getting built. So I'm going to look at how it looks when I finish with these textile mills. State construction efficiency is pretty rough down here. Because then maybe I can rely on the private sector for construction for a while, and then I can be in a good spot. I am going to split the army in half. 1264, that's not bad. Maybe I want to go to 1284. I think I do. Ooh, but that's putting me in dangerous... Never mind. So, that'll put us at 632 for armies. We'll pull this fella over. New army, yep. Half. And confirm. And that should... But why? Are you having... Are you too slow? Is it a speed issue? Shouldn't be. You're right there. Well, this is awkward. Okay, hold on. Let's try this. Confirm. Alright, there we go. Perfect. We did it. Alright. I'm just going to rename these the First Serbian Army. And I'll rename the other the Second Serbian Army. Soundtrack. Why don't you play me some nice music? Hey, excellent. That's my favorite. Now we're short on munitions. Shame. Really suboptimal. I wish you would start producing the necessary bullets that I need for my army. But I guess it's not critical if you don't, because I'm not fighting in a war right now. All my barracks are in shortages, and that's okay. So, how much longer on these textile mills? 11 weeks. 11 weeks, and we've got a good gold reserve. Wallachia is still a subject of the United Principalities, and Austria remains pretty heckin' stable, all things considered. Let's improve relations with the two Sicilies for now. Bulgaria, you're still neutral towards us. Educational investments increased to 3. That's pretty good. What do things look like? Ooh, Austria might step in. No, Austria is more likely to step in on my side. Ooh. We have prospects. If we go for this, same situation. I don't think Russia will step in. Greece will step in, but I can potentially get Austria in here. So, I think it's time we take a risk and we go after Bulgaria. And this is it's gonna improve the economy. Do I go for both? That's really the tough question, because I am really going to hope that Austria will continue to be willing to back me if I go for both. But if I only go for the capital, I'll cut the country in half. That'll be fine. Bulgarians are still treated very well under my rule, so I think it's worth. If I go for Dobruja, that's too much infamy, but I think it's worth it. All right, so let's make our play. All right. Now, mobilize our armies, place them on the front, and we raise our conscripts. And now, of course, I'm going to subsidize those munitions plants once again. And I hope the rest of the arms industry can handle itself. Now, I have some countries I could sway. Let's go ahead and add the Northern Thrace. Let's add the Northern Thrace war goal. That's going to make me infamous. Austria is still willing to step in on my behalf, though, so that's good. I've raised my conscripts. I think that's going to be enough force. Greece is going to stand with them, but I didn't actually check what's going on with Greece militarily, and I should have done that beforehand, but them's the breaks. Not much. I think I'll be able to win a war against Greece. Greece may have a navy. Not much of one. All right. Let's see. Because again, I think I wanna win this on my own steam if I possibly can. Plus, the casualties will increase my national my fervor. Let's get a few more conscripts running. So we were at 4 for we're at 10 for infantry. It's 2 more for artillery, and for the other army, we'll do the same. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then for artillery, 1, 2. And that'll be just fine. Oh, interesting. This army has a bunch of Lancer conscripts that it doesn't need. Let's drop those off by a little bit. And we'll put them in this army. Okay, that's what goofed up my my situation before. But that's okay. 10, 4, 3. That's a perfectly reasonable ratio. And it's only going to improve. So, if Greece doesn't get in on this, which now it looks like they won't, I think I'll be good to go. In fact, I could steal Dobruja as well. On the other hand, I could make Southern Thrace primary, because they do still have the capacity to back down at this stage. I don't want to get too ridiculously greedy. I am getting ridiculously greedy here. Getting ridiculously greedy is the thing I'm currently doing. Oh, a Serb-American fellowship. Excellent. That's very good. I don't think they're going to back down. Okay, Bulgaria feels pessimistic about their chances to emerge victorious in this diplomatic play under the current circumstances. It is fairly likely that they will, presumably that's meant to say, back down, especially if their side stands to lose a lot from a war. So, this sucks for my infamy, but I think it's necessary to increase my primary war goal. To make my primary war goal, my other war goal primary. Do I really want to do this? Do I really want to take almost 45 infamy at this time? I don't think they're going to be able to bring anyone in. So I think the answer is yes. I'm doing it. That's going to halt escalation for a little bit, but that's okay. That's only going to be better for me. Okay, most countries are still willing to step in on my side. I'm not going to go for Dobruja. I think that's just silly. I might need to use Dobruja as leverage to bring someone else in, maybe. But we'll see. They are worried, and now they won't be able to back down without giving me, realistically, all of Bulgaria. This is all of Bulgaria at the beginning of World War II, I think. And on top of that, I don't know what the borders look like now. I'm going to set my fellas to advance. I'm not going to set them to pillage or superior advanced methods, because actually I don't want to cause too much devastation. This is going to be my national territory pretty soon. I'm going to throw in one more government admin in western Serbia. I'm going to throw one into Bosnia. And just get those built so that I've got sufficient admin to build up these areas and take them. And incorporate them, because I do want these areas to become incorporated. And this is the only way, like, this is needed to increase the size of my economy. This will give me more port space, and it will put me more on a level with the Ottomans. And that's what's necessary here. And I apologize if that's mercenary, but that's simply the way things are. Bulgarians will be well treated in my country as it currently stands. Persia's improving relations. That's also interesting. Obviously, they're raiding my convoys, which is not ideal, but them's the breaks. I bet they'll be pretty motivated to be better friends with me once I take Dobruja. And my set point for... Oh, actually, my set point is now 77. You know, because of all the war casualties. Wow, we are absolutely crushing them in this war. I did not need to be worried one bit. Golly gee willikers, look at me. I am just sweeping through Bulgaria. This is good. This is very good. This is a productive war. Heat wave. Oh, I wish there were not a heat wave happening. Now, Southern Europe is a hot place. But them's the breaks. Ooh, and they actually have naval bases. That's nice. Maybe I will have a navy as well. An absent mind. There have been reports of Dmitria Obrenović, leader of the intelligentsia, so he's from our ruling family, not attending meetings or fulfilling his obligations. We can no longer ignore his absence. Obrenović barely responds when we call his name. A blank stare. He almost doesn't blink. Let's go for a walk, we tell him, and he nods in silence. Into the silence we walk. A doctor needs to see him. He loses his psychological affliction, but becomes less popular. Or he can get all the help he needs in an asylum. He effectively dies, and the intelligentsia get a little mad. They're currently packing a market liberal. That's not great for my overall strategy. They might move into the free trade party, and that's not bad, though. How good a character is he overall? He's alright. Let's just say a doctor needs to see him. That's the humane thing to do. The humane and reasonable thing. Wow, we are crushing this war. I may have undersold my capacity to do this, I must say. So maybe we'll be able to, I think we're actually going to win this war by total occupation of Bulgaria, which would be exciting if we could pull that off. I've caused a little bit of devastation in these areas, but not too much. Ooh, corporate charters has been unlocked. Maybe I can form myself a company. I can. Oh boy! The Combined Serb Fabric Fellowship, Textile Mills Throughput, and the Metal Syndicate of Western Serbia, Steel Mills Throughput. Neither of these companies is that great. But now that I've got the capacity to form companies, we'll look into a little bit more. Beautiful. So, right away, let's commence incorporation. I didn't build enough government. Alright, let's build one government sector in South Serbia, and we'll build one in Montenegro. We'll just get a few government sectors building. And that should be good. Now, let's normalize production methods. So these areas become more productive. Obviously, they've got quite a bit of turmoil. There's starvation in northern Thrace. That's really bad. It's really quite bad. Wheat farms are not operating productively. That's also not very good. Wow, I got a hold of this area, and they're down bad, people. They're down bad, friends. Things are really rough here, but they're going to be looking up soon, because now they're part of what will one day be Yugoslavia, the people's state of all southern Slavs. Our GDP is growing. Do we have any orphaned army units in the new areas? It looks like one. Let's go ahead and upgrade them to skirmish infantry. We got a dragoon unit. Let's upgrade them to lancers. And that'll be just fine. That's fine. No problems with that. How long are these areas? These areas are going to take 4 years to incorporate. That's okay. Cash flow is doing all right. How is the investment pool? Investment pool is still just fine. So what's next? These areas are going to need railways. Ooh, and I've got universities in them. Beautiful. Well, one university. Convoys are doing fine. So let's take a quick look at the market once again, now that we've taken in some more territory. Silk is still rough. We're still not producing any of our own luxury clothes. No dyes. And paper is... We're down bad with paper. Have we gotten any new resources in here? We've got some more iron and some more logging. And we've gotten some fish. And that's kind of it. Chemical bleaching, that's very nice. We can bring in even more dyes, and that'll allow us to make more paper. Which is good. That's what we need. Glassworks, we don't have the capacity to produce bone china because we don't have crystal glass active. That's a shame. Let's do it. I think this will make them productive. I think they're lying about being unproductive. Okay, we're bringing in more dyes. They weren't lying. They weren't lying. They're unproductive. Alright, well, them's the breaks. Let's drop back to the earlier methods. I guess I simply don't need that many glassworks in the country, huh? Them's the breaks, I suppose. Let's get some of our... Let's produce some of our own luxury clothes. So we're bringing in silk. It's going to make luxury clothes dirt cheap, but we'll put on import tariff. Pearly Shin. exiled from the United States of America. That sounds like someone I want. A modernizer aligned with rural folk. Maybe. That may be someone I want. We'll see. All right. All right. We have a luxury clothes industry. Two Sicilies is damaging relations. How dare you, sir? Sir? How absolute dare? And of course, now the world market wants our heckin' stuff. Maybe we'll just go to Bone China for one of our glassworks, our porcelain. Okay, now they don't want our porcelain anymore. This is silly. What is happening out there? Okay, world market was being weird for a bit, but they seem to have calmed down, so that's okay. Alright, well that should make our glassworks better. Okay, so what did we bring in? We brought in some logging camps, some glassworks, some furniture manufactories. That's very good. And then in northern Thrace, we got some more textile mills. That's wonderful. Some of these are owned kind of all over the place. I've got a good amount of cash in the reserve at this stage. Well, let's take a look at our armed forces. We're at 843 for the first Serbian army. And then for the second Serbian army, we're still at 632. Romania improving relations. Alright, that's fine with me. Let's increase the size of the armed forces by just a bit. I'm going to throw in a few more infantry and artillery into the first army, and then I'm going to do... Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Huh, I'm done. If we go to 853... No, hold on. This is goofy. This is goofy. I just did the wrong army, friends. We're going to go to 853 with... we're going to go to 843 with our second army, because our first army is 843 as well. We're just going to get started with that. And then perhaps we'll balance upward a little bit more later. How much more capacity have we got? We've got one... We got 6 capacity total. So if we do... Yeah, we can go to 1053. So let's do that. And we'll do the same for the other army. And that'll put us in good stead. That'll make us very able to do what we wish to do. Now, how does Russia feel about an alliance now? Not as badly as they did before. Not as badly as they did before. I think we can continue to increase our power projection. I think I definitely have an eye on more Ottoman territory. Perhaps unjustifiably. I do want to take Kosovo, and I do want to take Albania. Even though Albania is not de jure part of Serbia. Why am I way over on bureaucracy now? Did I goof it up? Did my petite bourgeoisie become very happy or something? I hate those guys. They're always out here doing racism. Ooh, mechanized workshops. Excellent. This is actually super duper good, because now we can produce so much of all the things that we desire. And I know it looks like I just made all this stuff less productive, but here's the thing. I did do that, and I would do it again. This is going to be very good for the country long term. I'm going to subvene exports for both clothes and basic furniture. And though that is going to cost the government a significant amount of money, it's also going to be useful. I've got unrealized taxes because I've got tax waste. Oh, right, because I got tax waste in my newly occupied territories. Yeah, there we go. Do I still have tax waste in these territories as well? I do. I do. Okay, so yeah, so that's where some of that's coming from. So I still haven't begun to fully utilize the territories that I took from the Ottomans during the Serbian War of Liberation. That war was a lot cleaner than I thought it was going to be, and I'm starting to feel uh, I'm starting to feel a certain level of self-confidence that could be described as dire. I'm starting to feel a dire amount of self-confidence. In terms of, like, I'm about to build up to a 30 battalion army with the capacity to go up to 60. Maybe I could take the Ottomans. Their army's not that big. Dangerous equipment. The furniture manufacturers in Bulgaria have seen an increase in workplace injuries due to increased mechanization and poor safety regulations. Accidents have always happened, but I felt like I used to have time to react. Not this time. I grabbed his arm to pull him out of the way, but I'd barely gotten a hold of his wrist before the arm was all I held on to. Slow down production while the staff adjusts to this new machinery. Reduce manufacturing industry's throughput in Bulgaria, intelligentsia and landowners unhappy. Or, we cannot put the brakes on the engines of progress, increased mortality in Bulgaria, trade unions unhappy. I'm going to have to go with the first one. I can't take extra mortality. My one thing that I can't take is mortality. My population is far too low to deal with that. How's research going? We're working on we're knocking out the remainder of the tier 2 production tax. Which sort of hurts, TBH. A Bessemer process is tier 2. Oh my god, I don't even have Bessemer process. This is unbelievable. How have I beefed it this hard? Answer, I just started really, really low. I need more universities. My university situation is dire. I need at least one university in all of my states. In each of my states. Happily, there's one already in Bulgaria, and then Northern Thrace will get another. And this will cost the government a huge amount of money, both to build and to run, but it will be worth it. Just as it's costing the government a huge amount of money to build these barracks that I, perhaps unwisely, started constructing. But these areas will be doing better later as turmoil gets down and as policing gets going. Again, I'm really kind of counting down the years until our heir becomes an adult because Milan Obrenović is just not feeling well at all. This is a character who historically, I think, like, died in 1839 or something. It's sort of shocking that he's lived this long with a minus 80% health debuff. I guess he is a young man. He's still a young man at 46. He was a young man early on in the game, but is still a young man. Industrialists are powerful. That's very good. I have been making a good amount of gold reserves privatizing, and I shan't stop now. Investment pool is looking good, and I can establish a company. But I want to be conscientious about my companies. What I'll probably do is between episodes, I'll take a really good look into what the companies look like and see how that looks. The Ottoman Empire would like to build me. Yeah. Was that Egypt? I think that was Egypt. I think I'm done. Spain. How could you? How could you damage relations? How dare? A secular national awakening in northern Transylvania. I don't know anything about the secular people. I don't think I knew anything. I don't think I know. Where the hell's northern Transylvania? Here it is. I think this is my first time hearing about the secular people. Magyar, heritage Magyar, language Hungarian, religions about 2/3 Protestant and 1/3 Catholic, more or less. Interesting. Learn something new every day playing video games, I say to myself as a purveyor of video game footage. Someone not at all unable to offer a reasonable attitude towards this. Now, in terms of expansion opportunities, I'm pretty limited. Romanians would not be necessarily treated very well in my country, so going after Romania is not an ideal way to go. Obviously, the Bulgarian people are doing quite well in what will one day be Yugoslavia. Now only Serbia, but one day Yugoslavia, once I've got a hold of a lot more territory. The problem is, ooh, excellent. The problem is I really need to be able to take the Austrians in a fight, and I don't fancy my chances against them because they're actually a reasonably well-developed military power. They've got skirmish infantry, and they've got mobile artillery, so they're not... I'm not higher tech than them, right? That was the issue with Bulgaria. They were low tech. And the Ottomans are pretty low tech as well, I believe. Oh, they've got skirmish infantry over here. Some skirmish, some line. Wow, Konya used to be multiple states, but maybe I'm wrong. I even think of Hearts of Iron 4. Yeah, they got... I don't have that big of a tech advantage on the Ottoman Empire, is what I'm learning. Now, I have other people who will help me take them in a fight, but here's the thing. Oh, interesting. Oh, we lost contact with America. Well, that's a shame. That's a shame. This kind of looks like it says Serbia here, but them's the breaks. So, I think my long-term strategy, I want to wait, because I don't think they've completed their Tanzimat. And let's see if I'm right. Ooh, shell gun. Excellent. Yeah, they're still in traditionalism. They're still in land-based taxation. And they're only just now starting to get the bureaucracy and stuff going. So I don't think they've completed it, which means at the end of this year, they're going to stop being recognized. And that is going to be make aggression against them easier. What was I going to do just now? I swore I was going to do something. Oh well. The good old days. When invited to give a speech on behalf of the Conservative Party, sorry about that, Antun Harambasic began extolling the virtues of a strong home, strong borders, and strong men. The public reception was mixed. Truly, I dare say the men are no longer men. They are coddled with books, as if they are any substitute for real adventure. Their mothers swaddle them in cotton and silk, only for them to be henpecked by their wives. And heaven forbid they take a pint of beer, one sip, and they need their fathers to carry them home. Won't someone think of the children, extra momentum for the conservatives, or older times, old ways for older times, and even older fools? He becomes out of touch, and the conservatives lose momentum. I'm going with the second one. We'll take a week to see how things are going, and then we'll take a look at the election. So, conservatives have a good amount of momentum still. I may need to have another 5 years of conservative government. If I can get... The liberals are holding, though. If I can get the liberals... Ooh! Can I get involved in this? What on earth? It's France versus Sardinia-Piedmont. Oh my goodness. This is wild. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Everybody, wait just a second here. France wants to regime change Sardinia-Piedmont, and they want to return Savoy, which is this state. They want to conquer Provence, which is here. Hungary wants independence from Austria. Okay, that's good for me. France wants to steal the Windward Coast from the Dutch, who are on the Austrian and Russian side. I don't fancy Hungary's chances here. Sardinia-Piedmont wants to liberate Occitania. Good heckin' luck. They want regime change in Oyo. That doesn't seem to matter to me. Regime change in Tahiti and to enforce Russian investment rights. Alright. Excuse me. This is a heckin' war. This is a war, my nerds. We're out here warring, I tell you what. Hey, one more unit of Lancers. And I can't build one, because I don't have enough states. That's okay. These things happen. All right. Kindly burn this letter. Mirko Kadijevic, a prominent member of the Conservative Party, has been accused of gross corruption. He strenuously denied all allegations until damning letters surfaced signed by him. Oh, yes, of course. I'm willing to discuss the contents of these letters with the committee, but only if I'm given the opportunity to study the content of these letters in my personal chambers. Of course, on my honor, I will not alter or destroy any of the evidence. Honest. The Conservative Party should stand by Mirko Kadijevic and deny everything. Mirko Kadijevic should be isolated to protect the rest of the Conservative Party. So this first option is reduce momentum for the Conservatives. Second option is reduce popularity for Kadijevic. Or there are allies in the Conservative Party who can speak in Kadijevic's defense, reduce momentum, but not as much. I'm going to go with the first one. Continuing to rob the Conservatives of their momentum in the election. And that'll be good for me. So I wonder if the French can take all of Europe. They're notorious right now. Oh my gosh, they're almost a pariah. France, you mad lads. What are you doing? Johnny, what are you doing? They're trying to catch up with America and North Germany. Holy crap, North Germany's strong. North Germany's got a hold of Bavaria and everything. And meanwhile, I, little Serbia, am just here in my little corner, not making anybody upset, just taking care of business. Just being normal and not getting into any fights. Of course, the thing I could do is start trying to seize Ottoman territory now and pull the Russians in. What does it look like if I do that? If I go absolutely buck wild. No. North German Federation's going to side with them, and that I absolutely can't deal with. Okay, never mind. We'll just keep chilling. We will keep on chilling. Serbian fervor's going down. Our target point is 59. What the heck? This sucks. What happened? I'm trying to nationally awaken. Gosh dang it. Gosh dang it, I'm trying to nationally awaken. How dare you? How absolute dare. I got fishing somewhere, right? Hey, trawl for me. Be better. Why don't you be best? Why don't you... Have you considered being best? Well, this will definitely lead to my ability to increase construction sectors. Oh, heck. They only had one construction sector over there. Gosh. How good, what a good thing for me to take control of their country. Unfairly denied entry. Oven Bundu people in eastern Serbia are being blocked from entering certain businesses by some local Serbian people. I've been going to the shop for years. Why is there suddenly a sign in the window saying people like mine aren't welcome anymore? Everyone must be allowed. Reduced authority, or shopkeepers can sell or not sell to whom they like. -1 standard of living. I'm still taking a penalty due to a different time modifier. How much longer is that going on? Another year. I can take a penalty to authority. Everyone must be allowed. This will stop tour. Mirko Kadijevic intends to travel across Montenegro by train to campaign for the Conservative Party. All I intend to do is present myself to the people. I'm just a simple man trying to get our party's message out by the best means available. Campaigning by rail is a smart move, extra momentum for the Conservatives. Montenegro gets stressed rail network for reduced railway throughput, or the fate of the nation depends on that train running on time, increased momentum, increased railway throughput. I'm gonna have to go with the first one, because again, I don't want the Conservatives being stronger. Unfortunately, they're probably going to take the election at this point, unless I can get a really good event to increase the momentum of, realistically, probably just the Liberals. The concert interrupted. The outbreak of war in Europe, spurred by the aggressive actions of the two Sicilies, curious, has led to the landowners to begin lobbying against Sicilian interests. Those damnable fools, I had investments there. Does their king think himself to be Napoleon? Who will be next to take advantage? The Danes, I suspect. Yes, the Danes. I suppose so. Regardless, you know what to do now. He departed with a slammed door and a scowl. The secretary, left behind, had already prepared an envelope addressed to Napoli. With luck, it would arrive within the month and permit something to be salvaged of this mess. The two Sicilies had every chance to choose differently. A new anti-country lobby is created targeting them, or how quickly they turn tail. Landowners get weaker, and a new anti-country lobby is created targeting two Sicilies. I'm gonna go with the second one. I love weakening the landowners. Get out of here, landowners. Stop owning land. Sell it to the industrialists, you fools. You fool! Do you think the president of Earth has a freaking mullet? Alright, so Hungary is probably going to be... to stay in the Austrian Empire, which is a shame. But we'll see. We'll see what comes of this war. It's hard to say. The two Sicilies, are you... Oh, you're part of this whole thing. Oh, you're just taking a run straight at This is an entirely separate war. This is a fight for Italian leadership. Alright, so Karl Heinrich Marx has been exiled from Belgium. Never heard of that guy. So prospects are still exceedingly bad, and them's the breaks. Too bad the intelligentsia won't form up with the free traders. But that's simply how things go. That is simply how things go. Alright. Well, I will continue here. I'm still building up universities. Weekly innovation is at 60. It's not as high as it could be, friends, but it just... The costs are so impressive. They'll be less later, but for now they're large. It might be something I can work on, but obviously this takes a while. How's turmoil doing in the newly conquered areas? It's not as bad. It's not so bad. It's all right. It's fine. Incorporation is proceeding apace, and all is going well. Well, that's the end of Hungary. Hungary's attempt at getting free. And that's going to be it, likely. Yep, them's the breaks. Ottoman Empire. Beautiful. Ottoman Empire is now unrecognized. Wonderful. So that means it's going to be a whole lot less infamy for me to take a run at them. Assuming the North German Federation doesn't become big mad at me. Oh! North German Federation has a front with Russia, but only a small one. What are you guys fighting about? Oh my goodness, there's a fight between Great Britain and Tuscany. And Tuscany has the North German Federation. What? Hold on. What is going on here? Tuscany. They want to take a protectorate over Tuscany. And they want to enforce investment rights on Transylvania. And they want to liberate Hesse from the North German Federation. And then Tuscany has brought in Hungary, Transylvania, Croatia, Slavonia, well, they brought in Austria and their subjects, and the North German Federation. But what is this situation with Russia? You're separately involved in this. No, but you're... That's wild. That's wild. Europeans are shooting at each other. Oh my. A developing crisis. The future of the Ottoman Empire is at a crossroads. A growing number of secessionist movements threaten the stability of their nation. The youngest vizier, Ismail, shook as he spoke, his head bowed. It can no longer be denied that unrest brews in our once great empire. Secessionist supporters can supposedly be found in every coffeehouse in Constantinople. The other viziers nodded, unperturbed. The eldest spoke. We must press forward with our agenda, even if the Sultan does not share our view. Our family's lives are at stake. Carefully monitor the situation as it develops. Ottoman Empire, reduced influence, increased infamy generation, reduced infamy decay. Greek national movement, Ottoman supremacist movement, and Sunni traditionalist movement gets extra political movement pop attraction, extra political movement activism, increased radical movement pop attraction, and increased cultural minority movement pop attraction. Russia and Austria both get some extra influence. Interesting. That's pretty cool. That's an interesting situation that's developing over there in the Ottoman Empire. And maybe Serbia, one day Yugoslavia, though for the moment only Serbia, will have the opportunity to take advantage of it. You know, once I got myself a navy and everything. With that having been said, it's been a solid 10 years. I've continued to grow the country. I've grown the economy significantly. I've built up literacy. I've increased standard of living a bit. The population has continued to grow. The balance of radicals and loyalists has been pretty rough, but we're working on it. And we're hurtling towards becoming a power to be reckoned with. With that having been said, that is all the time we've got for dealing with such things this episode, my nerds. I have had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.